Hello, everybody. We are here today to talk about a topic that probably a lot of people don't like talking about, but it is a topic that is really forefront of mind at the moment, unfortunately, and that is estate planning. We'll talk about estate planning, what it is, and what we can do to help you with. So who are we? Freedom Financial Solutions. Some of you would be existing clients. So we do a lot of self-managed super fund setup and accounting work, taxation work, and other business tax work. But this is a slightly separate stream that we are now launching as it's becoming so important in society at the moment. And it is primarily involving myself, Cass Smith, for those of you that don't know me, and Mary Jane Liddycoat, who runs our Canberra office as the Managing Director, and Grant Abbott, who is a leading specialist in SMSF and also estate planning. This is going to be our introduction video. It's the first of 3 videos that we're going to record. The second one will be on SMSF strategies, and the third one on very advanced protection strategies. So, why are we talking about this? I have always been a very, very strongly supportive of protecting wealth. Why? We all work so hard to build it. Why build wealth if we don't have those protection strategies in place? So you've built some wealth, now what? We all work hard. You've worked hard, saved. Maybe you've got a home, built a business, and have other assets. What happens if something happens to you, to your wealth, if something happens, something unexpected? If you're sued, if you get sick, you can't work, or ultimately when you die, how will your family be affected? Just have a think about that, because this is where estate planning and asset protection come in. So what is an asset? Sounds quite common sense. But just to put it in perspective, it's anything that you own that has value. It includes your home, your investments, your superannuation, savings, business, interest, cars, even family heirlooms. So in estate planning, those are the assets that we focus on to protect them and pass them on. What is an estate? Once again, these are simple concepts, but if it's the first time you have turned your mind to this, it is best that I explain everything from the basic concepts. So an estate is all of those assets. When you die, everything that you own or you're entitled to goes into this thing that we call an estate. Doesn't necessarily include your superannuation and your life insurance. They may be kept separate unless they are specifically paid into the estate. So the estate there, we've got all the little assets in a little pretty picture, surrounded by a nice white picket fence. How safe is that from attack? So as you can see, the white picket fence has got a little bit of a break in it. The sharks are circling, but they're not on that side yet, so I haven't got into that little gap in the fence. But how long will it be before those sharks swim around and find that little gap? So estate planning is about planning what happens to your assets when you die or become incapacitated. And if it's done well, it ensures that your wealth will stay in your family, in your bloodline family, and avoids legal disputes. 2 very important things. To make sure it's in your bloodline, as in it doesn't go to married partners, potentially stepchildren, and also avoiding the legal disputes, because legal disputes can end up just wiping out the entire estate. And we'll be talking more about this. It's becoming a very, very big issue. So what are the risks to your assets now? Well, firstly, there could be lawsuits. Someone can sue you, e.g. after an accident or in your business. So you could have a divorce or a relationship breakdown. Like, that doesn't happen much, does it? Only 50% of all relationships. Your assets could be split or lost. Financial troubles such as bankruptcy, debt collectors can target your wealth. Bad business decisions. Giving personal guarantees or having failed ventures can put your personal assets at risk. You can have poor insurance structures, so if your assets aren't protected by insurance. And obviously health issues. Sudden serious illness, incapacity can lead to loss of income and rush decisions and ultimately death. So what is asset protection? Put very simply, it's about safeguarding those assets from lawsuits, creditors, and unexpected life events. And it makes sure that your hard-earned wealth is safe now and into the future. So I think we've made that point quite clear. You've built this wealth. Now let's look at protecting it. Some people think that an enduring power of attorney is enough, but no, it's not. Enduring power of attorney only gives someone authority to act on your behalf if you're incapacitated, so stroke, accident, dementia, but it can be quite limited. And what some people may not realize is it ends effectively immediately when you die. So it doesn't handle anything in your estate after your death. It doesn't prevent assets from being attacked by divorce, lawsuits, and bankruptcy. And your appointed enduring power of attorney, EPOA, may not be capable of making the right decisions, especially if there's a lot of pressure. Your enduring power of attorney documentation might not cover everything it needs, such as your SMSF companies and trusts. So yes, EPOAs are very important, but they are just one of the small pieces in the jigsaw puzzle that is estate planning. What about a will? Isn't that enough? No, because a will only takes effect after you die and doesn't protect assets during your lifetime. A will may state your wishes, but it won't stop claims or protect your estate. It can be challenged in court under something called family law provisions. And this is shocking. This is the way society is going. Up to 50% of wills are challenged. So family provision laws, they let many people make claims against your estate, including spouses and de facto partners, current and former ones, children, including adult children and stepchildren, grandchildren who are financially dependent, or anyone that can claim they lived with you and was dependent on you. So what happens after you die? Why would claims be made? So when you die, your will enters a process called probate, which makes your will public and allows others to challenge it. Probate opens the door to the family provision claims from the spouses, ex-spouses, partners, children, including estranged children, and others, anyone who can say they were financially dependent upon you. And unfortunately, death has become a whole new industry to itself. If you ever think of things, if you mention the word marriage, and the price of everything goes up, from the flowers you want for the wedding to the dress to everything. As soon as you say it's a wedding, prices go up. Unfortunately, the same thing for death. As soon as you die, and there's estate lawyers out there, they're called no win, no fee. They advertise and actively pursue claimants, treating estates as a business opportunity. So they dig for any relatives they can find that they can then talk into challenging your estate. And also they can get a big fee. So sometimes the people who are claiming don't necessarily have a valid claim, or you might not have even thought about this person claiming, but they can make a claim, and that can result in drawn out legal battles, fractured families, and significant legal fees, draining your estate before it reaches your beneficiaries. Unfortunately, these no win, no fee lawyers can be a little bit slimy. That's why we had the sharks in the previous picture, is that they'll say no win, no fee, but there are so many clauses in their contracts that do enable them to charge fees. So should I say it loud, they can be con jobs. So even a really well-written will is vulnerable to attacks without a comprehensive asset protection strategy. So what's next? Ask yourself, if something happened to you yesterday, was there a clear, simple strategy that helped your family know what to do? And I always believe in everything that I do, that I walk my talk. And I never recommend people do things that I don't do myself. I have only just updated my will and all my strategies only yesterday because I'm going off on an overseas trip. And I just want to make sure that if anything happens to me, it's all in order. My family can pick it up. All the documents are there. Everything is completely protected for my wonderful children. So if something happened to you yesterday, who would take over your business and financial affairs if you were gone or incapacitated? A lot of people don't even think about their business. You might be running companies and businesses and you haven't given a thought to, well, what happens if all of a sudden you can't do anything? If you have do you have a blended family, former partners, complicated family dynamics that could lead to conflict? Do you have any disabled, disadvantaged, or elderly family that need consideration? Are your EPOAs, wills, trusts, companies, superannuation nominations all aligned and all up to date? Are you using structures that minimise your tax, protect the wealth, and prevent the delays in distribution? So it's important to minimise tax even after death. You may think to yourself, well, look, I don't really care about after you pass away, but really, as we said earlier, if you've worked so hard to build up all this wealth, you really do want it to go to good use to your beneficiaries, even if that's to charities. Excuse me. Just so that it's not taken away by the taxman. So, and do you have people or organisations you want to exclude from your estate? That's very important as well. So, if you have any questions on any of that, talk to us. At Freedom Financial Solutions, we will listen carefully, and that's the most important thing. We need to understand your unique family, financial, and personal situation. Then we will design a tailored plan to protect and maximise your wealth, including from real world risk like divorce, legal claims, financial predators, health crisis, and business failure, ensuring your wealth stays in your bloodline for generations to come. In fact, we can build you a castle. Isn't that lovely? A castle with water around it so that nobody can get to it. One of our products is actually called a moat and castle. So other ways we can help is an advanced care directive, guardians, and also a like-minded charity. What do we mean by that? The Advanced Healthcare Directive is becoming very important now as well. It is more than the enduring power of attorney. It is a directive that tells the hospitals, the caregivers, the ambulance drivers, anybody who becomes involved in your health, potentially in an emergency where very quick instructions are needed. So it covers things like whether you want CPR or you don't, whether you want blood transfusion or you don't, etc. Guardians are very important as well, whereby your situation may be a little bit complicated and your beneficiaries or your enduring power of attorneys and your executors may need a little bit of help and guidance. So a guardian can step in and help with that. We also have a like-minded charity. We do have clients who don't have beneficiaries that they want to leave their estate to. So we have actually set up a charity that we are managing so that you can leave your funds to that and we will look after it for a very good cause. We'll talk about another day. So the Advanced Healthcare Directive, as I said, it ensures your medical treatment preferences are known and respected if you're unable to speak for yourself. It protects your rights, guides your loved ones, and gives you peace of mind. Once again, we don't want to think about these things. We don't want to think about, do we want CPR? Do we want to be resuscitated if we're dying? We don't want to think about these things. But do you want your children or loved ones to have to think about those things for you? But to me, that would be even worse. So I have done this for myself. Advanced Health Directive, it tells my children exactly what I want so that they don't have to be the ones making those decisions in that horrible, horrible, stressful time. Like, I'm getting teary thinking about my kids having to do that. So it's really important. It documents your wishes clearly for future medical care, and it appoints someone you trust to make those decisions. Reduces that emotional stress and uncertainty for your family, and ensures your voice is heard in critical situations. So we can help you prepare, update, and integrate the Advanced Healthcare Directive into your estate planning strategy. The guardians, as I said before, if anyone with young children, vulnerable beneficiaries, blended families, significant assets, complicated situations, should consider appointing a professional guardian as part of their estate plan. So guardians are more than the executor. You will have an executor that you will have picked, and often people will pick, well, I know I picked my adult children. Other people might pick their siblings or a very close friend. That's great, but that executor may not have much financial training or understand complicated things. It's also going to be at a time of stress. You've just passed away, and all of a sudden, the executor's got all these things they have to do at a time when they may be grieving. So, a guardian is an independent and impartial person appointed to help guide the family. It can help reduce family conflict and ensure unbiased decision making. Why? Because the guardian isn't there just to implement paperwork. The guardian is there a bit like a mentor, a sound reasoning voice, someone who is expert in conflict resolution, just to help your family through these times. It's also someone who does have some good legal and financial expertise, that does know complex rules, can help protect your entitlements, or if they don't fully know some particular rules, they're enough of a professional that they know when to seek help and get advice from other professionals. It protects the vulnerable beneficiaries. So, for example, I mean by that, if there's a beneficiary that isn't necessarily capable of speaking up for themselves, just for whatever reason, they may be overridden by more outspoken beneficiaries. The guardian is there to make sure that doesn't happen. So if I smile at some of these, I think of my own kids and arguing over them arguing and which one of them would win out. So a guardian is really important, just to make sure there isn't that conflict between family members. Accountant and transparent. The guardians we're talking about uphold themselves to professional standards. And long-term stability. So provides consistent support across generations. What we mean by that is an estate well planned. I am a big fan of testamentary trusts, which we'll talk about at another stage. But those testamentary trusts may have investments that may last for 20, 30 years. The family may decide to have all these investments continue to build their wealth in the structure. So a guardian can be that long-term person that is always there to call upon when the family want some help with managing some of these issues. So what if you have no instructions and no family? As I said earlier, if you've got no instructions and no beneficiaries, if you've left no instructions, your estate ends up with the government. Okay? People don't realise that. If you have no will, even if you're young and think, well, I'm young, I don't need a will, I've only got money in the bank and a car and whatnot. If you have no will, the government takes your assets, they hold them in trust, they charge fees, they look for any family they can find, they decide who they're going to give it to. And if they can't find the family, the government just keeps it. Do you really want that? So have a will so that your estate can go to somebody that you want it to go to your beneficiaries. And if you don't have specific beneficiaries, there are plenty of charities, although I do know that a lot of charities, the money ends up just being used in overheads and keeping the people who run the charity in a good paycheck. So we have set up a charity to cover that. It's called Holistic Future Solutions. It's just in its infancy. It's just got approval after a year with the government. But we will be helping to use the funds that are donated to us to help those that have been medically injured in all sorts of ways, such as seeking alternative treatments, taking legal action against those that harmed them, just helping them cope with what's happened to them in their lives. So what does it cost and what can it save? So setting up an enduring power of attorney, a will, a testamentary trust, and other strong legal structures does cost a few hundred to a few $1,000s each. It isn't cheap. There is a lot of paperwork. I just put my will away. I should have it here to show you how much paperwork is involved in it. But it can save you hundreds of thousands, or save your estate hundreds of thousands in legal fees, in unwanted claims. So consider the cost to your family of doing nothing. Long and costly lawsuits, family disputes, assets passing outside your preferences, and your family falling apart into dispute after you've passed. I don't think that's what you want. So consider your funds going to the government, where they're going to be used to pay for things that you don't agree with. So rather than focus on the cost up front, focus on how much it's going to save you going forward in the future. But it costs nothing to find out. So we do offer free sessions on where we have a look at your family and decide what we think that you should implement. And that is with myself, Mary Jane, and Grant. At the moment, I'm taking the appointments, but we do alternate between who takes the appointments. Grant will step in if you have a very complicated family structure. Otherwise, myself and Mary Jane can look after you. So where to from here? We should just have our contact details flying in if you want to know more. As I said, this is one of 3 videos. So this is the first one. Watch the next video for more complicated structures. Email maryjane@freedomffs.com.au. You can also book online on our website, Freedom FFS. Book in to see me for estate planning with myself to start with. And then if we need to, I will get Grant involved. So hopefully that wasn't too dry and too uncomfortable talking about such awful topics, but it is something that is just vitally important. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but there is a lot of death and illness going on at the moment. And it's really important you prepare and you also help your loved ones, anyone that you know of, your own parents, your own siblings, anyone else that needs help with this. So hope to see you again soon, and ciao for now.